If I were advising the Chinese government today, and I'm not, but if I were, and they asked me about what to do on Google, I would have told them to kick Google out. I've never said that to a crowd before. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. From the Chinese perspective, not from my perspective. I was upset that Google was kicked out. This is unfortunate. This is definitely a hit to open speech and to free expression and to the ability of all of these repressed peoples to have access. And I mean, Tibet and Xinjiang and all these things we know of. But if I was China, different story. Because, you know, Google has access to an enormous amount of information. They're following all of this data that all of these Chinese citizens are collecting, and we don't know what they're doing with it. The Chinese don't know what they're doing with it. Now, if you're China and you think that over time the U.S.-China relationship is maybe not going to be so great, and you're conservative by nature and you hedge a lot, you don't want to take big risks, what happens if at some point Google decides they want to sell that information to the U.S. government? More importantly, what happens if the U.S. government demands access to that information because they need to know what these Chinese are up to? Do you want to take that risk if you're the Chinese government? You do not. You want a Chinese firm that you have control over, an influence over, and know what they're up to and can stop them if there's a problem with access to your data. I actually think that that was an incredibly foresightful decision by the Chinese government from their direct statist perspective. Now, the problem is, with state capitalism, the perspective is statist. It's not global. It's not humanist. It's supporting the perpetuation of that regime. It comes out of authoritarian regimes that used to have centrally planned economies. They don't work as well anymore because their people have more information. It may be authoritarian, but they want more stuff. They know a lot about what's happening in the world, and if you're an authoritarian state and you want to stay in power, you know central planning isn't going to do it. So what do? Instead, you use the tools of capitalism for political ends.